don't know if you've seen that video before or heard that song. Pretty powerful stuff, though. I was running a few weeks ago. Those of you that don't know, I like to run. I usually run, I don't know, between 7, 12 miles a week, something like that. Ray, I know, is a fellow runner, and we have some others in here that are runners as well. And a few weeks back, I was going on a run. One of the best things I like about running is I can't be, interrupted, if that makes sense. I don't have my phone on me or anything like that, and I can just go and run, and it's a great time to think, and it's a great time to just be by yourself a little bit. And a few weeks ago, I was running. I always run with my iPod, and this song came on. I listen to the radio on my iPod usually, and because I just kind of like whatever comes on, comes on. And this song came on, and as I was running, I started listening to the words. And I thought, man, it's a pretty powerful song. That'd be pretty cool to preach on. And then I was talking to Adam about it this past week, and he said, have you seen the video yet? And I said, no, I haven't seen the video yet. So then I went and watched the video, and I was like, wow, that's really powerful video. And so here we are today. What I want to do today is I want to preach about fear. And I want to take this song, Fear, He is a Liar, and I want to break it down a little bit, and I want us to look at it, and I want us to examine it a little bit, and I want us to see how we can apply some things in this song to our lives. How fear is a liar, the song, He is a Liar, can be applied to our lives. Before we do that, though, let's look at the word fear. The word fear, okay? Webster's Dictionary says, fear is an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by expectation or awareness of danger. Okay? The second definition is concern about what may happen or worry. Okay? So two definitions that Webster's Dictionary gives us. Let me share with you, before we get started here, one of my fears. Okay? I have a few things that scare me a little bit, a little fear in me a little bit. But let me talk to you real quick about one of them, okay? One of the fears that I have, and some of the youth know this, some of you guys know this probably, is heights. I don't like heights, okay? I don't like being high. I don't like being up on my roof. I don't like climbing up on a ladder. I don't like going up to the balcony and looking over, okay? I just don't like it. So here's what happens to me. When I get up on a high place, here's what I feel like. I feel like I can't breathe, okay? I feel like I have to force myself to breathe. I freeze up a little bit. I don't want to move, okay? I just want to sit still. I don't want to move. Stuff starts spinning, okay? I feel like I'm losing my balance, all right? These things start to happen to me, okay, when I get up on a high place, okay? Now, I haven't let the fear of heights stop me from doing everything, okay? For example, I love water parks. All right, if anybody here like water parks, okay? I enjoy water parks. We actually took the youth to Emerald Point last summer. We, as a family, went to a water park this past. The worst thing about water parks, though, is climbing up those stairs to get on the slide to go down. Once I'm on the slide, I am fine. Put me on the slide, and I'm good. But to get up the top of the stairs, especially when you go up one of those where it's waving back and forth because it's a little windy, I do not like that at all. And they'll tell you, Poor Jackson, I makes him hold my hand, not for his sake, for my sake, okay? We're going up, okay, the top. This past, we went on vacation in Atlanta, went to a water park, and I am just slowly, here I go, up the stairs, okay? I am making my way, and I don't know why I do this, but the higher I get, the lower I get, okay? So I'm going down, and we get near the top, and then the worst part is you gotta stand there and wait in line, right? So you're standing there waiting in line, and you're just please hurry up, okay? And Jackson looks at me and he says, Daddy, can you stop squeezing my hand so hard? It's starting to hurt. So I didn't realize it, but I was squeezing his hand harder and harder. But I'm telling you, once I get up there, though, and I'm on the slide, I'm good to go, okay? So I haven't let it stop me from doing water parks. Another thing I really like is roller coasters. I like riding roller coaster rides, okay? The worst thing about roller coasters is that slow, gradual ride once you're on the coaster up to the top before you go down really fast. I just want to be at the top and go down really fast. I don't like to slowly, gradually go up the hill, okay? That's the worst thing about roller coasters. I like ziplining. If you put me on the zip line, let me go. I don't want to stand there on the edge, though, and wait to take off, okay? So some of these things, all right, afraid of heights, but I can once I'm on these things, I'm good. So let me tell you a story, okay? Let me tell you a story. Good visual real quick here. About 5 years ago, I took the soccer team at Salem High School to the Whitewater Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. okay? If you haven't been there, it's a really cool place. You should go there, check it out. It's got whitewater rafting, it's got bicycling, it's got zip lining, it's got different courses. And one thing it has is a high ropes course, okay? So we're at this place, we're having fun, we're enjoying ourselves. We've gone whitewater rafting, it was a blast. We've done some other things, it was a lot of fun. And then one of the girls looks at me and says, hey, coach, let's go on the high ropes course. And I said, yeah, let's go do it. Now, knowing what you know about me, all right, is that a good idea? That's a bad idea, okay? But I was just so caught up in the moment, right? And everybody's doing it, and we're doing all this stuff. We're like, yeah, let's go do that. That sounds like a lot of fun. So we get over there and we go to the high ropes course, okay? Let me show you how this ropes course worked here. There's like a line and like some planks to walk on, okay? And you start off on the land, and then you make your way across, and about right here in the middle of the ropes course is this huge tree. I mean, a gigantic tree. I need a tree. Logan, you'd be a good tree. Come here. All right, so you stand right here. Be a tree, okay? Come on up here. So this is how this course works. So he's going to stand here, and there's this tree right here. Right, be a tree. That's perfect, all right? All right. So you got the course, and it goes through, and then when you get to the tree, it takes a left, and you go off the course, okay? Now, below the tree is like the farthest distance to the ground, okay? And you don't know how high it is till you actually get there on the tree. So here I go, okay? Everybody's like, yeah, all right, let's do this, okay? So I get harnessed in, which I don't really know why they have one harness that's it. That's all you have, right? So if that, in my head right away, if that malfunctions, I'm done, okay? So you have this thing, and you're walking on this wire. You're walking on these planks, and I start to make my way across. That's not too bad, because I'm just leaving the ground, so I'm not too high yet. So as I make my way across, I get about 3/4 of the way there, and then something happens. You know what I did? What did I do? I looked down. That was stupid, okay? So first mistake was getting on the ropes course, knowing what you know. Second mistake, I looked down. So my head goes off the planks, which I was focused on. I was focused on the planks and the wire, and it went towards the ground. And when I looked down to the ground, it looked like a mile. It wasn't that far, but it looked forever long. And right then, at that point, guess what starts happening? I start to not be able to breathe. I feel like I can't breathe. I start to freeze up. I don't want to move. All this stuff starts to like go through my head as I'm standing, and I'm 3/4 away from this big tree. So I'm trying the best I can to focus, but I'm starting to shake a little bit. And I make my way, and I get to the tree, and guess what I do? Oh, yeah. I grab on to the tree like I've never grabbed onto a tree before, okay? The tree didn't grab onto me. I wish it would. So I'm sitting here. I'm grabbing onto this tree. I made another mistake. What did I stop doing? I stopped moving, and that was a bad idea. So now it's me stuck at this tree, grabbed onto with all my might. I mean, I'm like putting claws in this tree, and I start to look down again. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so far. I can't breathe. Stuff starts to go through my head. I felt like I was there for an hour. It wasn't. It was probably like 5 minutes or 3 minutes. I felt like there was forever. And I started to think maybe they could come and get me. Maybe somebody can rescue me, because I don't want to go off the tree and go down the rest of the ropes course. And so it's like, I'm like, that's a dumb idea. They can't come out and get me, because I'm still going to have to go off. Okay, so they ended up having to fly a helicopter. I'm just teasing, that didn't happen. So I'm stuck, okay, and all these things start to go through my head, okay, and while I'm holding onto the tree, I hear this voice, and I need, Ashley, come here. I know you don't want to, but come on. All right, so I hear this voice behind me, and it's one of my soccer players. It's a girl. Ashley, you come about, like, right here. And she's coming across, okay, yeah, that's good, right here. And she's coming across, okay, act like you're walking on a ropes course. All right, there you go. All right, good. All right, that's good. And I hear this voice, and it says, Coach. Say, Coach. Louder so they can hear you. Okay. And when I turn back and look, it's one of my soccer players. And when I look at her face, guess what? The same way I feel, I see that look in her eyes. Like, she's starting to tear up. She's starting to freak out as well. She's starting to shake a little bit. And I'm thinking to myself, sorry, you didn't know you'd get into this, man. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've got to hold it together here. Because if I lose it, this poor girl is going to lose it too. And then we're both going to be up here screaming and yelling and asking for help. And it's just going to be not good. She's going to be crying and all this stuff. So I look back and I say, hey, so-and-so, come on over. All right? So she comes, and then guess what she does? She grabs grabs onto the tree. There you go, good. So now we're both on this tree, okay? So we're holding on, and I realize, okay, we've got to get off here, okay? And so I look at her and I say, okay, let's do this together. Let's do this together. I'll go first because I have to because of the wires. And then you follow, and we'll talk the whole way down. The whole way back, we're going to talk, okay? Got it? All right, so slowly but surely, we leave the tree, and we make our way on the ropes course, and we're talking the whole time. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm just saying stuff to get, and we make our way. We get halfway there, and we finish it up. Thank you, guys, for helping. And we make our way. But here's the thing, like, I don't know if you noticed, but when I got in trouble was when my eyes went off. Like, my focus was not on the planks anymore. My focus was not on the wire anymore. And my focus shifted elsewhere, right? My focus shifted to the ground. And I'm guessing that the poor little girl that was behind me, that started to happen to her the same way. When her focus was on something else, okay, when her focus was on what she was supposed to be doing, it was fine. But when she went off of it, she started to lose it a little bit. And I don't know if you noticed too, when I went off the tree, what did my focus shift back to? It went away from how high I was up, and it went back to making sure we were going to make it off alive, okay? It went back to making sure, what could we do to get off this thing? And I think so many times in life, that's the way our life goes, right? Our focus is on God and things, you know, we're moving along. We're going through life, ups, downs, all of it. Our focus is there. And then the second we take our eyes off God, the second we lose focus on Him, things start to spin. It starts to get a little scary, right? So just kind of keep that in mind as we move through this message today. Where's your focus at? If it's on God, usually, you know, we let Him take us through things. If we lose that focus, that's when things start to spin and get a little crazy. But we did survive the rope course. Now, do you think one little thing. When I was on the tree, I made a promise to myself. I promised myself that I would never get on a high ropes course again. This was 5 years ago. Do you think I've gotten on one since? Heck no. I haven't got anywhere near a high ropes course again. And here's the thing. I had nightmares for weeks after this. Kelly can tell you, I would wake up in the night, sit up in bed. I thought I was on a ropes course again. I was going to fall down or something. For like 2-3 weeks after this, I would have dreams about being up on this ropes course and falling down and things like that. So no, I have not got on a ropes course again. Don't plan on getting on one. So don't ask me to get on a high ropes course because I can't, okay? I'm never putting myself in that situation again. Did I overcome? I thought I was like overcoming my fear. Heck no, I didn't overcome anything. I just survived off the ropes course. Let's look now. You may not feel that way about heights, but you may feel that way about some other things, okay? So let's look at that real quick. Let's look at Americans fear the most. The top 12 list that Americans fear the most, okay? So you may get these same feelings, maybe not about heights, but about something else. Number 12, and I'm just going to read these out to you. Number 12 is the dark, all right? I'm not afraid of the dark. Some of you may be afraid of the dark. Some of you got, who's afraid? Anybody afraid of the dark? Want to admit it? All right? Maybe a couple. Okay, all right. So number 12 on the list is the dark. Number 11 is going to the doctor. I'm not a big fan of going to the doctor, although I know the doctor's supposed to heal us, and that's where we're supposed to go when we are feeling well. But for some reason, some people just don't like going to the doctor. And some people are terrified of going to the doctor. Number 10 is thunder and lightning. Anybody afraid of thunder and lightning? Okay, we got a couple. Okay, good. So sometimes, and I coached a girl one time, and thunder and lightning outside, she would freak out. And she'd start crying, and she just didn't like it at all. So she had those same feelings maybe. Number 9 is dogs, all right? I'm not afraid of dogs. I don't necessarily like being around them because they make me sneeze because I'm allergic. But some people are terrified of dogs. Number 8 is flying on an airplane. I don't mind flying on an airplane. I'd rather not. But at least I would rather do that than get on a high ropes course because I don't have to move on an airplane. I can just kind of sit there, right? Okay? So flying on an airplane, some people just don't want to do that. Number 7 is mice. Number 7 people fear is mice. I don't like mice. I don't like rats. They're just creepy to me. They're little and creepy and yucky, and I don't like them. Some people are terrified of mice. You may fall in there. Number 6, needles. Number 6 people afraid of is needles, okay? Some of you may be afraid of, I know some people that are terrified of needles, like pass out when they see them. Doesn't bother me, but it may bother you, and you may get those same sort of feelings. Some of you are shaking your heads now. Number 5 is spiders. So in top 5 list, what Americans are afraid of is spiders, okay? Spiders are little to me. I'll step on them. I'm not getting rid of them, but I'm not like terrified of them. Number 4, and some of you may fall into this, being in a closed space. like being in a closed space. And some of you are shaking your heads. Who are afraid, like, of being in a really tight space, okay? So that's the number 4 on the list. Here we are, top three things that Americans fear. Number 3 is heights. We already talked about that. Number 2 is public speaking, all right? Public speaking. Oh, we got hands going up. I didn't even have to ask. Public speaking is I don't mind, but some of you would be terrified. You want to come up? No, okay. All right. So, and the number 1 thing Americans are most afraid of, you want to take a guess? It is. It's snakes. I don't want any part of snake. I don't want any part. So snakes is the number 1 thing that Americans fear the most. Now, turn to the person beside you and you tell that person what you're afraid of, what kind of object, what kind of thing you're afraid of the most, okay? Go ahead and do that real quick. It may have been on the list. It may not have been on the list. It may have been, it may not have been. All right? Okay, that's great. Okay, so here's what we're going to do now. All right, in your bulletin, it's not correct, okay? It's last week's sermon. I'm not going to preach like the same sermon Daryl did last week, okay? So it's not correct. So we're going to improvise, okay? We're just going to make this up as we go. At the very top of your notes, okay, you're going to put, what do you fear? And you're going to put the answer that you gave the person beside you. Okay, put that right there. What do you fear? My neighbor across the street that lives across from me, he's terrified of clowns. Okay, that may be something that you're terrified of. I don't know. But you write in that blank, what do you fear? You write it right there. We'll improvise the notes today, and you can make it your own. It'll be a fun experience together. We can make it your own note sheet as we move through here, okay? So what do you fear? And you write that in right there, what you fear, okay? Whatever you told the person near you. All right, some of you may fear a lot of these things. Some of you may not be afraid of anything. You may be like, I'm not afraid of that stuff, right? Like, it doesn't scare me at all. The spiders don't scare me. Snakes don't scare me. Being closed, that's great, okay? That's great. And here's the thing. With these fears, okay, that's one type of fear. Today, that's not the type of fear I want to talk to you about. Today, I want to talk to you about the most dangerous fear of all, okay? Today, I want to talk to you about fears that keep you from being the man, the woman, the teenager that God wants you to be. I want to talk to you about those fears today. I want to talk to you fears about like fears about like pain, disappointment, misery, loneliness, ridicule, rejection, death, failure. I want to talk to you about those fears today. These are more of like feelings. And those are fears that can keep you from being the person that God's called you to be. See, most likely, a little mouse isn't going to keep you from being the person that God's called you to be. Most likely, some of those other things on that list aren't going to keep you from being the person God's called you to be. But these fears, these are the ones I want to talk to you about. These are the ones that keep us from being the man or the woman or the teenager that God's called us to be. I want to talk to you about those types of fears today. I want to talk about the fears that hold you back from being the godly person God wants you to be. Let's look back at this song real quick. This song is really powerful, really powerful. And let's look at this song and let's go through it really quickly here this morning and look at what it says about fear. I think we got the words right up here, perfect. It says, when he told you you're not good enough, he is who? He is fear. When fear tells you you're not good enough, fear. And I even can take it a step farther. When Satan tells you you're not good enough, when he told you you're not right, when Satan tells you you're not right, when Satan tells you you're not strong enough to put up a good fight, when he told you you're not worthy, when fear tells you you're not loved, when he tells you you're not beautiful and that you're never going to be enough, when fear tells you those things, when Satan tells you those things, it's a lie. It's a lie. Going down, moving through here. The next stanza. Fear, he is a liar. Satan, he is a liar. He will take your breath, stop you in your steps. And we've been there before. We've been there where fear has just took our breath from us or stopped us from what we need to be doing. Stopped us right there. Fear, he is a liar. He'll rob you of your rest, steal your happiness. We've probably been there before. We've had sleepless nights where we've let fear control us. We've let fear take our happiness before. He will do those things. He wants to do those things. So what do? Cast your fear in the fire, because fear, he is a liar. Cast your fear away. Cast your fear away. What do we do with that? Moving down to the next stanza. When he told you you're troubled, when fear tells you that you're troubled, that you'll forever be alone. When he told you you should run away, you'll never find a home. When fear told you you were dirty and you shouldn't be ashamed. When he told you you could be the one that grace could never change. When fear tells you those things, when Satan tells you those things, they're not true. As we move through the song, fear, he is a liar. He will take your breath. He'll stop you in your steps. Fear is a liar. He'll rob you of your rest, steal your happiness. Cast your fears in the fire, because fear, he is a liar. What powerful words about fear. What accurate words about fear and what he will do to you if you let him. As we move through, let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall. Your love is all I fear. Let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall. God, your love is all I should feel. Take your fears. Hand them over to God. And let his love conquer those for you. Because odds are you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. And it goes on. Let your fire fall and cast out all your fears. Let your fire fall. Your love is all I feel. And it goes on to another one. Let your fire fall and cast out all your fears. Let your fire fall. Your love is all I fear. And then it ends with, fear, he is a liar. He'll take your breath, stop you in your steps. Fear is a liar. He'll rob you of your rest. Steal your happiness. Cast your fears to the fire. Because fear, he is a liar. What powerful, powerful words. You choose whether that fear controls you or you control it. And you control it by giving it over to God. That's how you control that fear. That's who you lean on. That's who you lean on. And then you give your fears over to God, and you can look back at fear, and you can look back at Satan and say, I am good enough. I am right. I am strong enough. I will put up a fight. I am worthy. I am loved. I'm beautiful, and I will be enough. You can look back at fear and say those things through Christ's power, through God's power that he gives you. You can look back at fear, and you can say, I am not troubled. I'm not alone. I'm the farthest thing from being alone that I could ever be, because I have God living inside me. I will not run away. I do have a home in Christ, my Lord and Savior. I am not dirty. I am not ashamed. You can be saved through grace. You can look back at fear and say those things. The power of Jesus Christ and our Savior. You don't have to be consumed by your fears. You don't have to let fear control you. You can control it. And you do that through God. You do that through Jesus. Let's look really quickly this morning, all right, and I'm going to move I've already kind of moved fairly quickly. We're going to look at 3 points I want you to look at. And we're going to make it up. We're going to make our own notes up on our bulletin here. 3 points. What the Bible says about fear. The Bible says a whole lot. We're going to look at 3 things. First thing I want you to turn to is I want you to turn to Genesis 15:1. 15:1. All right, we can put this note when I give it to you. You can just, where it says, come and see the man underneath John, you can just put 1 right here. We'll just write in that blank right there. All right, we'll make up our own thing here. All right, 1 right there. 15:1. This is God talking to Abraham. Genesis 15:1. After this, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward. Number 1 in your notes. We overcome our fear by letting God be our shield. See, I think God's saying the same thing to us today that he said to Abraham many, many, many years ago. He's saying, let me be your shield. Abraham, let me be your shield. Well, today he says to us, let me be your shield. Are you letting God be your shield in your life? Are you letting God protect you and be your shield? Or are you not? Number one thing in your notes is we overcome our fear by letting God be our shield. Let God be your shield. Let God protect you. Life's going to throw all kinds of different things at you. Let God be that shield for you. He wants to be. He desires to be. But he lets you choose if you're going to let him be that or not. Number two in your notes. All right, let's look at Isaiah 41:10. Isaiah 41:10. Isaiah 41:10. Talking to Israel here. Did you get there? 41:10 says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Number two in your notes, we overcome our fear by letting God strengthen you and help you. You overcome your fear by letting God strengthen you and help you. Are you letting God strengthen and help you today? Or are you fighting him every step of the way? Are you letting him help you? Are you letting him strengthen you? Or are you just fighting with him the whole time? Are you letting him give you power? All right? Are you letting him build you up and strengthen you? Or are you just like fighting him tooth and nail every step of the way? Where are you at with God this morning? Where are you at with God today? Are you letting him help you overcome that fear? Or are you just pushing him to the side and saying you don't need him? He wants to strengthen you. He wants to help you. He doesn't want anything more than that. He wants to be your shield. He wants to strengthen you. He wants to help you. He wants that. He desires that. But you got to want that too. You got to make that decision as well. Let's flip over to Mark 6. Mark 6. We're going to go 45 here. Mark 6:45. Mark 6:45. It says, immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to Bethsaida while he dismissed the crowd. So, Jesus is here with his disciples. He's in this town, and he has disciples goes ahead of him while he's dismissing the crowd. Okay, so kind of picture that, okay? Jesus, crowd, disciples go. Jesus is dismissing the crowd, letting them go. Okay, as we move through here, verse 46. After leaving them, he went up on the mountainside to pray. Disciples leave, Jesus goes up on the mountainside to pray. Okay, all right, so he's up on the mountainside praying. Later that night, the boat was in the middle of the lake, and he was alone on the land. So there's a boat in the middle of the lake. His disciples are on it, just so you know. Boat, middle of the lake, disciples on it. Jesus is over here on the land. Disciples on the boat over there. Jesus on the land over here. All right, verse 48. He saw the disciples straining at the oars because the wind was against them. So the disciples are in the boat straining. Okay, I'll get over here where the disciples are. Here we go. They are straining. All right, they are working because the wind's blowing against them. Wind's blowing against them. So the disciples are working those oars. Shortly before dawn, he went out to them walking on the lake. Yeah, don't you like that? Jesus didn't get in the water and do a backstroke or freestyle across the lake. He's Jesus. He just walks on it, right? So Jesus, before dawn, just walks on the water, all right? Before dawn, walking on the lake water, okay? But when he was about to pass them. So he gets close. Jesus is about to pass them, okay? Walking on the lake, all right? It's kind of cool how he just walks on the lake, all right? But when they saw him walking on the lake, they thought he was a ghost. They cried out because they all saw him and were terrified. So they're doing the oar thing over here, straight against the water, and all of a sudden they look, Jesus is getting close, and there he is, and they freak out, right? They're terrified. They're like, it says, they are, where's it at? I lost it. They cried out. They were terrified, okay? So they were terrified. Like, so they're like freaking out. They're like, we got to get out. I mean, who knows what's going on? They're like, there's a ghost, there's a ghost. They're like going crazy, maybe pushing people out of the boat. Who knows what's going on, right? But they're like frantic, okay? And then Jesus over here on the lake, standing here, all right, knows and probably immediately, okay, I like how it says immediately, because Jesus is probably like, you guys, what is, again, here we go, right? So Jesus says, immediately he spoke to them and said, take courage, it is I, don't be afraid. Then he climbed into the boat with them, and the wind died down. They were completely amazed, okay? So Jesus is like, guys, you guys, I don't know what I'm going to do with you guys. Take courage, I'm here, all right? Don't be afraid. And then Jesus, like Jesus would do, he just walks over and sits down in the boat with them, all right? So that's what Jesus does there. Here's the thing. Jesus gets in the boat with them, and they're okay. Everything calms down. Jesus is saying the same thing to us today. Whatever fears you have, he's saying the same thing. He is saying to you today, take courage, it is I, don't be afraid. And then he wants to sit in the boat with you. He wants to go through all the ups and downs and lefts and rights and backwards and everywhere else you're going to go in life. He wants to be right there with you in your boat. He wants to guide you. He wants to lead you. He wants to protect you. He wants to be your shield. He wants to strengthen you. He wants to help you. And he wants to be alongside you the whole ride. But you got to let him. You got to let him in your boat. You got to let him lead your life. You got to let him steer your ship. He wants to get in your boat and be there with you and help you overcome those fears. But you got to let him do that. You got to let him. You got to choose to say, Jesus, I want you with me. I want you in my boat. Lead my life. Guide my boat. Protect me. Strengthen me. You got to let him. The same thing that he told his disciples many, many years ago, he tells us today. Take courage. I'm with you. And then he wants to sit down beside you in your boat. But he gives you the choice to let him in or not. How many of you guys are kicking Jesus out of your boat today? How many of you guys are so prideful or so, one-sided minded or whatever that you won't let him in? How many of you guys are fighting him the whole way? He's just trying to get in your boat and lead your life, and you won't let him. He wants to guide you. See, he wants you to be the man or the woman or the teenager or the student that he has designed you to be. And you can't be that without him. You can't be that without him in your boat. Last point, John 16:33. John 16:33. I'm going to wrap it up here. Here we go. 16:33. I like how we end this. This is Jesus talking again. This is Jesus talking. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. I'll say it again. I have overcome the world. Number 3 in your notes, which you can just write right down here, right below A.W. Tozer. All right? Right below his name. Number 3, you can write, we overcome our fear by realizing that God has already won and overcome this world. See, God's already won. He's already won. So many people think the game's still going, and it may be going, but the winner's already been announced. God's already won. He's going to win. He's going to win. So whatever fear you may have, let him help you overcome that, because he's going to win. He's going to win in the end. And he's overcome this world, and he can overcome your fear if you let him. Fear is letting our circumstances come between you and God. Fear is letting your circumstances come between you and God. Let me say that one more time. Fear is letting your circumstances come between you and God. Faith is letting God get between you and your circumstances. Faith is letting God get in between you and your circumstances. Do you have faith today? Have you let God take over that fear? Or are you letting fear in between you and God? Or are you letting that fear hinder your relationship with God? Or are you taking that fear and you're saying, fear no more. Fear, you are a liar. God is between me and you. Are you putting God in between you and your circumstances? Here's what I want you to do for like 30 seconds. I want you to examine your heart, your life. I want you to examine it. And whatever fear you have that you can't let go, that's keeping you from being the person God's called you to be, I want you to let it go. I want you to think about what that is. I want you today to look at Satan straight in the eyes and say, Satan, no, you will not let this fear stand in my way anymore. You will not let this fear hold me back from being the person God's called me to be anymore. You won't let it hold me back. And I want you to give it over to God today. I want you to release it today. I want you to let that fear, and maybe it's pain, maybe it's disappointment, maybe it's misery, maybe it's loneliness, ridicule, rejection, death, failure, or maybe it's something else I haven't named. But whatever it is, I want you to look at Satan today and say, no, you're not in charge. God is. And I want you to hand it over to him today. The last thing I want you to write in your notes, the last thing on the bottom of your bulletin, the very bottom, the very last blank there, the very last space you got there, I want you to write down, now, what fear holds you back? We're not talking about spiders anymore. We're talking about real fears that keep you from being a child of God. Write that down right there. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Make a note, whatever that fear is that's holding you back. While you're writing that down, I'm going to ask Adam and the praise team to come on up. And here's what I want you to do. I just want, take a second. Just bow your heads where you're at. And I want you to think about what fear is holding you back from being the Christ follower you should be. And when that fear pops in your mind, when that fear comes to your heart that God puts on there, just jot it down on the bottom of your bulletin there. Just write it down. You don't have to let that fear control you anymore. You don't have to be a slave to that fear any longer, anymore. God doesn't want you to be a slave to that fear anymore, any longer. He doesn't want that for your life. He doesn't want that fear to hold you back to being the person he's called you to be. You know that God instructs us in various ways, hundreds of times in the Bible, to fear not. Hundreds of times, not just a couple times, but hundreds of times God instructs us to fear not. He does this because he knew we would struggle with this. He knew we would wrestle with this. He knew that fear is a basic human emotion. What do you do with that fear? Do you let it cause you to lose your hope, frustrate you, anger you? Do you let that fear conquer you? Or do you look to God and put it in his hands and not let that fear get in the way of being the person God has called you to be? I'm going to pray. Here's what I want to encourage you to do. I want to encourage you today. Here's the altar call. I want you to bring that fear to this altar, and I want you to just give it over to God right here, right now. Don't leave this place being a slave to that fear any longer. Bring it forward. Give it to God. Say, God, I want you in control of this fear. I want you to be my shield. I want you to strengthen me. I want you to help me. I know you've already won. Bring it here today and turn it over to him. Turn it over to him.